Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Mindful Homestead. My name is Jack. I've got a chance right now, and I'm gonna take it. So it's about 3:30, probably getting on 4 in the afternoon on a Thursday. I just got back from work, and I've got a chance, I think, to get the garlic into the bed up here. I missed the window at planting this earlier in the fall, and everything froze up on me, and I thought I wasn't going to get it in the ground. I thought we were just going to waste all the garlic, but we've had almost a week of above freezing temperatures right now. The garden is thawed, and I've got my seed garlic right here, some stuff that I bought, which I'll talk about, and then some stuff left over from last year's harvest that I'm going to replant. So while I've still got daylight and before it starts raining again, which it's supposed to do, I'm going to pick a bed and I'm going to get this stuff in the ground. I think I'll put it in this bed right here, which has housed our squash in the past. I'll rake it out really quickly, maybe get the soil ripper in here. I don't know if this is going to work. Nope, not going to work. I thought maybe with everything so kind of obviously loose on top I'd be able to plant, but about an inch down it's frozen solid. I guess let's try some of the other beds. That is disappointing. I think it's more disappointing because it's nobody's fault but my own that I waited so long to do this. The real kick in the chops on this is that, well, one, I bought garlic to plant. I didn't want to burn through what we grew ourselves to plant. I wanted to have some to eat for the year. But the second kick in the chops was just that, you get your hopes up on something and you're super psyched. And then you go and it's just not the way you think it's gonna be, which is what happened here. Like I was psyched at work today. I was like, oh, it didn't freeze today. We've had like 4 days in a row or 5 days in a row where it's been, almost into the 40s. And I was gonna get this garlic in the ground late, but still early enough into the cold season where to tell it to kind of sprout for next year. And I've got the row covers, the little greenhouse row covers that we built a long time ago in this video up here in the corner. But the weather for the next few days is not sunny enough where it wouldn't work. It wouldn't get the ground hot enough to thaw out. Another failure was the bucket trap for the rats that I talked about in this video that I'll link up in the corner here. We put a bucket trap out hoping to catch rats that we knew were in our garage. It caught nothing. It caught one mouse. 0 rats, 0 chipmunks, 0 squirrels. A total failure there. There is a silver lining in that the poison I've been using, which I don't like using, but desperate times call for desperate measures. The poison did get eaten by rats. It's a fish flavored poison, so it's not something mice will typically run into, and they're larger balls, kind of specifically targeted toward rats. That has been getting eaten like crazy. So they are eating it, they're just not falling in the trap and using the non-toxic method. So at the end of the day though, they have to go away either way. There is something I'm excited to show you guys and talk about as part of our upcoming projects in 2023. And that is a truck bed full of pallets. It's not just these pallets, I swear. I'm gonna get these pallets unloaded down there. You can see there's 3 fresh ones over there. There's 6 or 7 in here. 7 pallets in here right now, all in really good shape. And I've got something I'm gonna be doing with them that I wanna tell you all about. But I'm gonna back my truck down to where those are and I'm gonna get these unloaded and then we'll talk about it. So some of you that have been subscribers to the channel for a while know that we used to make our own maple syrup here. I have a homemade barrel stove evaporator that I made a few years back with a really nice stainless steel pan on it. But the last few years we haven't done any of that on the channel. And the truth is we haven't been doing it behind the scenes, we just haven't been doing it at all. A lot of that had to do with the fact that, well, yes, I had a maple evaporator that I built. The weather in New England can be pretty fickle, especially if you're talking about springtime. I found that the year that I did it outside, after we had scaled up a little bit, the amount of time I required to boil off the sap that I had, it really just ended up with me being outside in the rain, in the cold, in the wind, not being very happy. Emma was not necessarily very happy hanging out with me. It wasn't fun like you envision maple sugaring to be. If you look at, like, you know, maple sugaring lore of old, it was really just us standing outside in inclement weather in the spring, freezing while we boiled maple sap. So when we took on this logging project here, in my head, I carved out a space where I am going to be building an off-grid sugar shack. And it's right behind me here, kind of tucked away in this corner of the side of the pasture that's going to be kind of the barn, the winter pasture, and then the sugar shack. If you look behind me, back down in that corner by that big hemlock, that's where the barn's going to go. We're going to have a winter kind of sacrificial pasture here in the middle. And then behind me right here is going to be the sugar shack. Part of what I'm hoping to do with this, I called it an off-grid sugar shack. And in reality, like, to evaporate maple syrup, you don't really need to be on the grid anyway. You don't need electricity. You're just essentially burning wood and boiling off sap. The evaporator being enclosed inside the sugar shack is going to provide all the heat that you need. You don't even really need to insulate it much at all if you want to. Really, the key things here are 4 sides. You really only need 3 sides, but we're going to have 4 sides and a roof with ventilation, and then the evaporator installed inside with a steel pipe for a chimney exiting the sugar shack. That's all you really need. But I really want to make it a fun place to hang out, not just necessarily for sugaring season, but if we have farm tours, if we're having barbecues, if we're having people over, I want to make this kind of like a central hub on the farm, not just our backyard. Like, I want to make this a cool area where people can hang out. So there's 2 things I think going on here that are going to be really fun. I'm going to install a solar power source, some sort of solar generator. So I'm going to install something like that. I'm going to use a lot of 12-volt lighting because it will be easier on the battery. There will be 110 outlets on those power sources, so if we need them, we have them. And I think that alone, having a solar-powered off-grid sugar shack where we can hang out and boil sap, is going to be really fun. But there was a problem that arose when I started looking at all these different power systems to get the sugar shack up and off the grid. If you've looked at any of these things over the last year, you know that the price of lithium-ion batteries has gone high, the price of solar panels has gone high, the price of electronics in general has gone high, the price of everything has gone up. And the budget I'm looking at for this whole thing, including everything, is $2,000 or less. That's where I'm going with it. That includes everything soup to nuts. The wood for the sugar shack, the solar panels, the solar generator, the roofing material that I'm going to need. The evaporator is already built, but I do need to buy stovepipe to plumb it in safely. There's no code being that it's an outbuilding, but I don't want it to burn the sugar shack down. So when I started looking at places that I could save, one of the things that popped into my head was lumber. And while you wouldn't want to necessarily build a house out of pallets, I know you could. For building a small outbuilding, I mean, we've used them for pig shelters, we've used them for turkey shelters in the past. There are a lot of really cool ways that people have utilized these things if you go out and look on the internet, that for what I was doing seemed like it was a dead ringer. There's a program out there called Google SketchUp, and it isn't used as frequently as it used to be. Actually, I messed that up. It's not even Google SketchUp. Google used to own it, and it was called Google SketchUp. It's owned by another company now, and it's not free like it used to be. But in addition to just drawing things out on paper and playing around in SketchUp, where you can actually model pallets, there's prefabricated pallets that you can download and move around in there. I've come up with a few pretty cool designs that really would get me beyond having to do a lot of stud building. I came up with a few designs that when I plotted them out on SketchUp and I looked at the materials, I could reduce my usage of studs by 60%. You're not going to save a whole lot of money when you look at your floor joists and your rafters and things like that. I am still going to put it, potentially, it's either going to go on like a bed of gravel or it's going to go up off the ground on concrete piers. I haven't decided there yet. But your rafters, your floor joists, and all that stuff, you still want to build that. You don't want to build that out of pallets. For the walls of a stick frame construction, by sandwiching studs in between pallets, you go from a 16 on center pattern to over 40 on center. One of the things I've run across in kind of researching this project is that while there's no one set size for pallets, there's a couple different that fall under the standard size. A 40 by 48 is kind of a standard size that you see fairly common, and that's what most of our stuff is coming in on to the feed store. So all of these pallets that you see behind me here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These 10 pallets I was able to kind of pick out of, no lie, hundreds of pallets that we have stacked up. And being that I'm not in a time crunch, I'm waiting till spring to do this, I have the ability to kind of pick and choose what pallets I take. I don't have to take broken, junky ones that I find for free on the side of the road. I can, you know, be a little picky. Even if you have to pay for pallets, the price on them is so cheap typically from places that are trying to get rid of them. They make a very economical building solution. That's going to be kind of the big project of this spring. We are going to be putting that barn in, like I mentioned. That's going to come a little bit later down summer. If you have any ideas, if you've built a sugar shack in the past, let me know, because I'd definitely love to kind of pick your brain on it and see what you think of different layouts and sizes and things like that. As far as power solutions for the sugar shack, I actually have a Blue Eddy EB3 inside that they sent me for testing. The unit I have is definitely smaller than what I would want out there, but I figured if they were going to send me a unit, I could test it before I kind of ponied up and bought a bigger unit from them potentially to put down in the sugar shack. It's starting to get dark. I got to go inside and cook dinner for Emma, Jackie, and myself. So with that, I will bid you guys adieu. If you guys like this video and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button down below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching and hope you're having a great day. Bye.